Okay, I'm going to try to finish this podcast here for you guys so that you can have a whole bunch of cars added to your game, and then I'm going to try to get it so that you've got the code for the collision detection too. So I'm going to try to add. We're going to try to make a Frogger game today. So let's see how far I can get here. And I'm coming to you live from Vancouver in Canada. So, all right. So there's music playing in the background here because I'm in a club. So hopefully you can hear me. So we've started with two instantiations of this same class here, two objects, and what I'm going to do instead of using this is we're going to make an array list so we can make lots and lots of cars. So the way to do that is you type in array list, and then we'll call it my cars. Okay, and the array list is kind of an interesting type of array because it doesn't know what is in it. It doesn't know the type. Usually there's an int or a float, or in this case it'll be cars, but array list doesn't care what type of stuff is in it. So here, just like we've called one car and a two car thing here, we've got array list, my cars, and then what we're going to do is to actually start an array list, we go like this: my cars equals, and then you've got to use the word new array list. Okay, and that will instantiate a new array list. Okay, we can take these two things out now because we're not going to use these. You can either comment them out or you can delete them. And then to put stuff in the cars array list, we are going to use a for loop. So we're going to do that also here. A little bit lower in the setup routine, we're going to do for int I equals 0. I will do 10 cars at first, and what this is going to do is just iterate through a for loop full of 10 things. Okay, so I've got a beginning and ending curly bracket here. This is kind of weird. We're going to say my cars, and how you add something to an array list is just the word add. Isn't that great? And this is how we instantiated a new car before. So if you remember, just like this, same thing, except we're adding 10 new cars here. So this is the line. These are the groups of lines that add 10 things to an array list. Okay, and then down here, we're going to convert this to something to iterating through our array list. So we'll comment these out. We're going to have something that looks just like this, but what it's going to look like instead is, again, we're going to have to iterate through that array list again. So we'll do I equals 0, I is less than, instead of 10 here, I'm going to put my cars.size because that will resolve to how many cars are in it. And then I++. Okay, and this is where we're going to have our my car. This is where we're going to have display and move, but we have to do one thing before we do that. Okay, like we'll say my car dot display, and then we'll have my car dot move, just like we had here before. But we need to actually label. We need to pull a car out of the array list and name it my car. So this is a very confusing line. You're just going to have to bear with me and do what I do here. So we'll have car, my car equals, and then you have to cast something that you're pulling out of the array list. My cars.get I. So this is how we go through the entire list. We pull out the ith element, so the first time it'll be the 0th element, the second time it'll be the first element, etc. And we put it into something called my car. Then we do my car display, my car moves, the same as we did that. Okay, this should work. So I am going to try to run it, and you can see that I've got 10 cars going across. Yay! And they're all different colors because in my car class I have different colors, I have different sizes. So I didn't have to touch this tab at all. All I did was mess with this tab. This is where I was making more. And so If I decide I want to make 100 cars, I can just change this to 100. And you'll see a lot more cars. It might bog down if you do more than that. Why are these cars all only in the top area? It must be from where we instantiate them, right? So if we go to where we birth a car, and we look to see, position new P vector. So this is, we're starting at X is either 0 to 100. Same with Y, 0 to 100. So maybe I want this to be bigger. Probably, maybe I want this to be height, in fact. Okay, so yeah, that will fix that. Okay. So to finish this, what we're going to do is we're going to add sort of a Frogger type thing. We're going to just add a ball. It's going to be controlled by key hits. So we wouldn't do that in the car class. We would probably do that in the main tab and in the draw loop. Okay, so what we're going to need is just to create a frog so far. So I think, I'm going to change this to size 500 by 500. And I'm going to change my cars to only go kind of near the top half of the screen. So remember where I birth a car is called a constructor. And here's where I'm birthing cars, right in here, like birth, the word new means to give birth to or to instantiate something. So right here, it's calling this constructor car. And so that corresponds to this here. So position is always going to be, it's always starting between 0 and 100. But I'm doing random height here. This is between 0 and height. And I'm actually going to have it just go like between 0 and 400. So I have 100 empty at the bottom. Okay. And so now in the main tab, right at the end of the draw loop, I'm going to put an outside of the for loop. Don't put this in the for loop. I'm going to just draw an ellipse. That's going to be like my frog, my green frog. So I'll do like a fill color, and I'll do RGB. I'll make like a green color, and then I'm going to just make an ellipse. That's the frog. And so the position for this frog, I'm actually going to make a variable called frog position. So it'll be frog position, maybe frog pos.x and frog pos.y. It's going to be a p vector, and I'll make my ellipse 40 by 40. Okay, so now I need to initialize this. It's going to be a p vector. So let's see, somewhere in here we already have initialized a p vector. So at the top here, I'll do p vector, and it'll be frog pos. And in this setup, to initialize a p vector, it goes like this: frog pos equals new p vector, and then we'll position it like halfway down the x, so width over 2, and then we'll position it kind of at the bottom, which will be like 400 or something like that. I mean, maybe it should be 450 in fact. Okay, so now I should see a frog at the bottom of my screen, and I do. There it is. And maybe I should make it a square instead of a circle. In fact, maybe I'll do that. So that's where I'm drawing it, is here, and maybe I'll make it a rectangle instead of ellipse. That way we'll be able to tell it apart from the other things. Okay, and I think I don't want 100 of these, so that's where I'm instantiating all these little cars going across, is here, right? I've made 100. Let's try only making 10. Okay. So that's a little better. So now we're going to have it so that hitting a key makes this box go up and down. So remember how you capture key pressed in this? You got to go all the way to the bottom of the draw loop, and we'll make a key pressed routine. You have this code somewhere maybe? So the key pressed, I'm not sure what the keys for arrow hits are. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to write in here print line key code. Whoops, key, capital C, key code. So if I do this, now every time I hit a key, it's going to give me the code for the key. So watch this. I run, and I'm going to look down here at the console. I'm going to press it here just to make sure that it knows that I'm giving focus to the screen here. Okay, now I'm hitting the up arrow, and you see a 38, and I'm going to hit the right arrow, and that's a 39. The down arrow is 40, and the left arrow is 37. Okay, so now I can comment this out. Now I've sort of tested what my key hits are for the keys that I'm going to want to use. So here you'd put if key code equals, and then I had said that 38 was up. So actually I'm going to just use 30. Yeah, actually that'll be up. So 38, and you need a double equals there because you're testing to see if it's 38 or not. And so if it's 38, I'm going to move its Y position, right? Frog pos.y, and I'm going to probably decrement because I want it to go up. Maybe I'll do minus 30. Okay? So you can fill in the rest of these. You have to kind of pay attention. If key code equals, and then so 38 was up, and then 39 is going to the right. So if it's 39, you're going to do frog pos dot x equals frog pos dot x plus 30. Okay, and the other two, make sure you have the right amount of ending brackets. I don't. Okay. And I'm going to copy these two again, and I'm just going to paste them in here so I can do the 38 was up, 39 is to the right, 40 is down. So 40 is going to add to frog position Y. And then 37 was going left, right? So 37 will be decrementing frog position Y. So this should work now. Oops, I have an extra. Guys, hopefully you can hear this lovely music in the back. So I'm hitting the arrow keys and I'm making this move. The only thing that remains is to make it so that we test each one of these balls and see if the frog runs into them. So I think I'll do that in the next podcast, because what we're going to end up having to do is we're going to have to go through every single one of these, and when it's moving and it's displaying, we're going to check to see if its proximity is within like a small amount of pixels from this frog position. And if it's less than like 30 or something, we're going to say that it got hit, and we're going to delete it. So there you have it. What you guys should do now is you should figure out some way to change these circles into something else, because they're not that exciting. So where you would do that would be in this car area here, in the display method. Right here I've got fill my color, and I've got just this ellipse. You can change that to a rectangle. You can change it to a movie. You could change it to a PNG or a JPEG. Can't really change it to a GIF unless you add a GIF library. So why don't you go ahead and do that? And that's what I should see as a swarm of things when I get back from this extended little trip I'm on. Also, the velocity here. Oh, for my velocity, I don't have a p vector. That should be changed. You should probably use a p vector for velocity, so you can have them going in different directions too. All right, enjoy.